How is it going, friends? Welcome to another To the Twin Cities podcast. We've been doing this for a little while. We're doing them as live shows, and that seemed somewhat pointless. So now we're changing it into a podcast format, hopefully with a goal of making it as optimized for audio as possible, while still obviously having some visual aspects involved as well. Today we're talking about Inver Grove Heights. Inver Grove Heights is a suburb to the sort of southeast of the Twin Cities metro, southeast of St. Paul specifically, and it has a lot going on, a lot to offer. We just put out a virtual tour of Inver Grove Heights, so make sure you check that out. You can check that out before you finish this, after you finish this, however you want to do it, all good. And then we'll have another channel. We have the Experience the Twin Cities channel for just the experience videos. We just started doing that differently. So feel free to check that out. If you're really digging what you see in these videos, check that out. A deeper dive, just the vibes, just the sort of visual representation of what these neighborhoods look like. So before I dive in, I'd just like to say that my name is Jesse Lynch. I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called To the Twin Cities. And you can go to our website, tothetwincities.com. If you have any desire to work with us, feel free to reach out. We would absolutely love to help you. I promise nobody will work harder for you than we will. tothetwincities.com. Little contact form there. Will take 30 seconds to fill out. Or you can just shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. Or as you're watching this, every agent, respectively, has their own email address. If you like somebody's vibe in particular, feel free to reach out directly to them. And you'll know when you know. So if you haven't yet, I would appreciate it very much if you subscribe to this channel, click the bell to get notified. This channel strives to be a resource for folks who are either relocating here from a different city, state, country, planet, dimension, whatever, or first-time home buyers who are just looking to buy their first home / step-up buyers, downsizing buyers. Anybody looking for a new spot primarily is what we're hoping to be a resource for. We have a pretty unbelievable catalog of virtual tours of suburbs around the Twin Cities, even rural towns outside of the Twin Cities, and also pretty much a ton of neighborhoods within the city proper, Minneapolis and St. Paul. And I think for anybody looking for a new spot, I don't think there will be any better source of information anywhere on the internet for what the neighborhoods feel like, what they're all about. We try really hard to provide that information for you. So, like I said, today we're talking about Inver Grove Heights. I think we're going to start with Steve. Steve's going to do a bit of a market update on the whole market overall of the Twin Cities, and then he'll dive directly into the Inver Grove Heights market, and then we'll continue talking more about everything, all things living in Inver Grove Heights. You good?
I'm good.
All right, let's kick it over to Steve.
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Wilk. I can be reached at 763-360-9291. It's my cell phone. Please give me a call or text anytime if you have any questions about anything I'm about to discuss. If you're interested in working with me, you can also be found on Instagram at Steve Wilk Realtor, where my content is ever flowing. The thing that I'm here to talk about is the local market update for the entire Twin Cities. If I can get pipped here, please. The thing that I always like to start with this little update is what the showing activity has been like for the previous week. Currently, or actually I should say last week, we were at 24,280 showings across the entire MLS. That is a little bit down from where we were a week before. This week, as we talked about when we did this last week, this was kind of like last week we saw, 2 weeks prior, we saw kind of a makeup from Easter weekend. So there was a huge jump compared to the week before that. This week, a little bit back to normal. We're looking at the comparison between the week in 2023 versus this week in 2022. Still a significant decrease in terms of total showings and showings across all the various price ranges. But still kind of getting closer to where we were a year ago. The other thing we always like to look at is how many new listings came on the market over the course of the last week. So last week we're at 921 new listings in the Twin Cities, which is also a decrease from the week prior. But if you look at the last 4 weeks and average them all out, we're pretty consistent around that 930 new listings per week range. So not a huge increase or decrease in terms of showings or new listings coming on the market from where we were a week ago. And then the other thing I kind of wanted to touch on was we've got some data for median sale price for March. I mean, this is something that's always kind of like changing. You can check up on this by the week. I like to look at once Minneapolis Area Association of Realtors puts out the data for the entire month, just because then you can kind of compare it via graph to previous, like the months previous, and see how the changes, what kind of correlation there are between months this year and last year. So for March of 2023, we were almost exactly this. It did not show any growth from March of 2022, right at $355,000 for median sale price for all properties across the Twin Cities. It was a pretty significant increase between median sale price of February 23 to March of 23, saw an increase of $13,000. If you look at the 1 year previous, there was a similar increase between February and March of about $15,000. So we're not seeing a drastic change in median sale price between this time this year and this time last year, but we have seen a pretty drastic increase in median sale price between February of this year and March of this year, which is kind of consistent to what we, just what we've been seeing in the market in terms of submitting offers, receiving offers on our listings, and how competitive it is, especially for single family homes, and where that the competition leading to houses selling at, and in most cases, over list price, to kind of bump up that median sale price compared to where it was in February. So
cool.
Little update for the entire Twin Cities. If we're moving just directly into Inver Grove Heights, the thing that I like to look at in terms when we're looking at these specific neighborhoods or cities throughout the metro is, what is the active inventory actually like right now? I think that's kind of like a helpful idea of, in terms of like a market update, what's important to look at. Currently, there's 54 active listings in Inver Grove Heights across all property types. The interesting thing to me about that is that 41 of those 54 are new builds, which means that only 13 are previously owned homes. So a lot of new builds in Inver Grove Heights, evidently, something that I wasn't totally aware of. But yeah, so another thing that we always like to look at with this is what the median sale price of these particular areas look like. So pull that up quickly. So median sale price in 2023 of all properties in Inver Grove Heights is just over $300,000, which is lower, as I just mentioned. The median sale price across the entire Twin Cities is $355,000, so a little bit lower than the entire metro, and honestly not as much growth as I would have expected as some of the other areas that we've looked at recently. Just to give you some context, 2018 median sale price was $255,000, so decent growth, but I mean there have been some areas where that number is that difference is significantly larger. And then just going back 10 years, again, it's still, significant steady climb, but not as exponentially the growth that we've seen in some of these other areas. But yeah, new builds, that's the bottom line in terms of what's active in Inver Grove Heights right now.
Cool. Yeah, I think you'll see in the virtual tour, if you haven't watched it yet, that it's almost kind of two different suburbs within the one suburb.
For sure.
There's kind of the old part, and then it's clearly a different kind of section. So there's an old part, and then there's very, very much a new part. I would say the southwest section. I guess let's go Pitney real quick. So here's here's Inver Grove Heights on the whole as it relates to the cities. Really just due south, kind of southeast of downtown St. Paul. Very convenient to downtown St. Paul. And you're mostly going to be taking Highway 52 into downtown St. Paul, Highway 55, which ultimately turns into Hiawatha, would go straight into downtown Minneapolis. And also fairly convenient to downtown Minneapolis as well. For being a sort of new build heavy area, it's actually probably one of the closest in terms of drive time as far as a suburb that you can get a new build, or you can see a lot of new build developments. It's definitely on the closer end of anywhere else in the metro, because so much of where new builds are, Cottage Grove, which is already a bit further, Farmington, Lakeville, Rosemount, all a little bit further out. Like Apple Valley, Burnsville, you're not really seeing any new builds. Savage, yeah, but that's a little bit further out. And then you kind of go all the way around to the north side. Really, Blaine is kind of, maybe Blaine and Lake Elmo, but those are both a decent distance from either downtown. Inver Grove, probably, there might be something I'm not thinking of, but probably the closest and most convenient to downtown, where prices are as low as they are, and you can get a new build for on the affordable end of new builds, if that makes sense. So I think from here, go to Amber. Amber will talk through kind of, I don't know, what's family fun stuff to do. Yeah, I guess what's going on in terms of entertainment, things to do in Inver Grove Heights.
All right, what's up, everybody? I'm Amber Rhodes, Amber at tothetwincities.com, Amber to the Twin Cities from Instagram. So pop in, say hi if you have any questions. So like Jesse said, we're going to talk about all things Inver Grove Heights. What we have been seeing a lot lately in all of our videos is some really great golf courses, and this is the Inverwood Golf Course is definitely one that we're going to mention today. So the reason people go here is the views, the peaceful atmosphere. What's really neat too, even on their website, you kind of have like this beautiful map and a video of what each hole is. I'd like to see that kind of stuff as not a, avid golfer, to see kind of what I'm getting into. They have tons of weddings at their locations because they have so many rolling hills and so many like wooded areas at this golf course. So yeah, go with your family, go with your spouse, go check that place out. Also, this is something that I found was really cool. So they have this thing called foot golf. Have you guys ever played or heard of this before?
Frisbee golf, yes. Foot golf, no.
Foot golf. Okay, so it's like essentially you're playing golf but with a soccer ball, and then they have these huge holes like to kick it into, still like you're hitting a golf ball into the hole. So let's see, the hole's 21 inches in diameter with a marked flag, and it's just like in golf where the goal is to complete the course with the least number of swings, but instead of a pole you're using your foot like in soccer. So thought that was kind of funky there, and they have different rules, maximum of players, all of that kind of stuff. So I don't know, we'll give foot golf a try and have some beautiful views. So I don't know, I feel like families would love that. I feel like kids love to play soccer and all that kind of stuff.
That honestly sounds more fun to me than
yeah.
No offense, Nick.
Yeah, so it sounds kind of fun. Another great place to go to totally switch it up is theater. So they have open window theater in Inver Grove Heights. Live plays throughout the year. They have lots of different type of events, such as the fall art show, and they have different speakers that come to town. And a really cool thing that they offer is youth classes to help youth assist with like their acting lessons and all that sort of stuff. So it's not always like easy to come by in the cities for that. So it's kind of neat that they offer that. And apparently they have virtual theater. So if you're not able to make it, you can watch it from home. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, the next place we're gonna take a stop in. This place looks really good, really fun. It's called B52 Burgers and Brew. It is, I guess the atmosphere is really fun, laid back, casual. It's in the commercial district of Bishop Heights. So they have any type of dietary restriction, you're covered. Gluten-free, plant-based, meatitarians, whatever. They can get you fed there. So it seems like a really fun place to go to. But yeah. Next place we're gonna go to. Okay, this one looks really neat, and the history behind this is so cool. Okay, so this is the Rock Island Swing Bridge. So you don't want to spend any money, but you want to go with your family. Let's all just go walk around and kind of like learn a little bit of history. So this is a local landmark. It was built in the 19th century. It was designed actually as a double-decker, which is really cool, and also a toll bridge at one point. It was actually the last existing toll bridge until 2011, when it closed to the public and became a historical landmark. So I don't know, that kind of stuff is always interesting to me, and I feel like, you know, like you can see the little rock in the picture where it's like, it probably gives a lot of that history, and I feel like parents like to be like, oh, here's this thing, or grandparents, you know, like, let me tell you about this. Which I don't know, I think like I remember enjoying that kind of stuff as a kid.
Yeah, it's cool to see. I was
Yeah.
there during the video. It is
Yeah.
it's very neat, and like, you know, there's like very, very old photos of, you know, what it used to look like, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, totally different world,
Totally
you know.
different,
But
yeah.
definitely worth checking out, and just a great park.
It
you know.
is.
Yeah,
It's so
very
beautiful
nice.
out there. And I think the one thing I will say about Inver Grove Heights is there's a lot of space.
Yeah.
What I really enjoy about that is like there's still lots of woods and trees, and like it's just a really beautiful place. Next place we're gonna go to is the AMC 16. Full menu, recliner seats, reserve your seats. I mean, just as cush as you can get. Just go, have all the latest new movies out. We've all had some good, you know, movie suggestions for us, and they have them all playing there.
Yep.
So
Yeah, AMC's are great. They're everywhere, but
Yeah.
they're pretty consistently
they are.
great.
They're comfortable, people pleasers.
And that's right by B52 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right
Exactly. All right, so you were just talking about disc golf. So here is a really cool place, North Valley Disc Golf Course. So I guess I've been reading that this is like one of the coolest disc golf courses to go to. They've got some really challenging, different. They have some really different, challenging holes there. But I think that the fact that it's like this beautiful nature area while you're there, it's like you kind of get these beautiful views. And let's see, it is 18 holes, and it's rated the best disc golf course by City Pages and rated championship level by the Professional Disc Golf Association. You guys think you could stand up to that?
No.
Confidently no.
Yeah, definitely.
Confidently
not.
no.
I was there. I was out there too. It's really cool.
It's so
Yeah.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to give it a try. I think it looks
That's
beautiful.
not on the same course as the foot golf?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
North Valley Park.
I didn't
Disc
see
Golf,
anybody
yeah.
playing foot golf.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, like lots of hills, which kind of makes the things challenging, and like some are like you're shooting into the woods, which I think, I don't know, I like those type of challenging things. Like I do the Mayo tree, I want it to not be so easy. Like give me some challenges.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess one of those things. The whole and it's only $5, so bring the family, go check it out. Okay, I hope that I am saying this right, but it's Drax Pub. It says Dracula's 32 Bowl. I've not been there before, but upon reading of it, it's been family owned and operated for 49 years. They have darts, they have bowling, they have leagues. It just seems like a really fun, cool place to go to. It's like they have some modern parts, but it looks like since it's been family owned for so long, they have sort of that older vibe genre kind of going on there too, which I prefer. So go check that out. I don't know if you guys have ever done a bowling league before, but they're actually really fun. Like grab your family, grab your friends, and then it's like every week, you know, you get to go do that thing and have good food and.
I did in high school. I loved it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Can I add since I'm over here?
Please.
I've been to Drax many times. It's sick.
Good.
It's the Park Tavern in Inver Grove.
Yeah. It's super similar.
Awesome place. It's massive.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sick patio that wraps around by the sand volleyball courts.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
there you go, sand volleyball too.
And they have Golden Tee there. So.
Buck hunter?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Get all your video game needs also at the bowling alley. All right, my final stop for the beautiful town of Inver Grove Heights is Pine Bend Bluffs and Scientific Nature Area. You know, I'm a big fan of all the nature areas, and this has one of the best views in town. It's called the Views of the Wild Mississippi River in the Twin Cities area. It is called, what's it called? Oh, the Goat Prairie at the top bluff offers some of the best views of the Twin Cities. So go check that place out. What's really neat too is they only allow low impact activities because they're trying to preserve the land and like make sure that it doesn't just get overrun by people everywhere. So I can really appreciate that, and you know, go do your hiking, go do your birding, check out those areas with your family and enjoy a little Inver Grove Heights. So that's all I got for you.
Sweet. Yeah, that's great. It's great. I think we can switch. Yeah.
Switch it up.
So the there's a couple spots as you were talking where I was like, oh yeah, I went there.
Yeah.
You know, Inver Grove Brewing is another spot off 52. There's and maybe Nick's going to talk about some of this stuff. Apologies if that's the case. Just about some of these things. Gertons.
I'm mostly just doing hummus.
Okay, do y'all know Gertons? Anybody?
Oh, yeah, it's an outdoor.
Yeah, it's a nursery. Yeah, all things considered, it's a great nursery. Huge, just a huge space, and so many different. What are you looking at? Okay. So many species of plants. Yeah, you can get like rock and full-size trees, and you know, it's not like a get some plants for Mother's Day kind of place. It's like get the whole yard, everything you need.
Treating your yard for your Mother's Day.
Yeah, the whole, do the whole thing. Yeah, but great spot, and it's kind of interesting. Like once you're south of Inver Grove, there's literally it's like Coates, which is basically not a town. No offense to anybody in Coates. It's really small, and then a little bit of a distance along the river, and then you're at Hastings, which is why I think we always argue that it's potentially not in the metro. But you boys feeling ready?
Yeah. Alex is gonna go.
All right.
I can start.
Alex is going to start talking about schools in Inver Grove, deep dive into schools.
Cool.
Hit.
Hey guys, Alex here, going to be talking about Inver Grove Heights School District, ISD 199. Before I jump into that, if you have any questions, feel free to text me at 952-446-5604, and give me a follow on Instagram, Alex to the Twin Cities. So, like I said, served by ISD 199. That school district gets a B+ overall on niche.com. It is ranked number 25 out of 367 on the list of most diverse schools in Minnesota, so very high up on the diversity scale. It's also in the top 10% of best college prep public high schools in Minnesota as well. And then one fun fact, this school district operates in trimesters. Most are in just 4 quarters throughout the year. I don't know. It's not even really that relevant, but caught my eye. Anyway, so in this school district, there are 3 elementary schools. We have Hilltop, Pine Bend, and Salem Hills. Salem Hills is recognized as a National Blue Ribbon School, and they also offer the Athenium Gifted Magnet Program for high achieving students, kind of earlier on, grades 2 through 5. So it's a program, for more gifted students and whatnot. Inver Grove Heights Middle School, and they have one high school, Simley High School. Something you don't really see too often is, one area being served by primarily one school district, which is the case with Inver Grove Heights, and it is a very well established school district. A lot of these school districts we've cover multiple areas, and they kind of combine into one giant school district. Not the case here. So Simley High School opened in 1960. Their first graduating class was 19 students. They currently now have about 1,200 students between grades 9 through 12. So kind of a generally smaller high school class size than what we've seen with a lot of the high schools we've looked at. The Washington Post also ranked Simley High School as the 14th most challenging high school in Minnesota, and in the top 100 in the Midwest. So very solid academics. They get an A- overall on niche.com and also an A in diversity. So checking a lot of boxes here. They have the high school has a very well esteemed band program and theater programs that was kind of all over their website. And then as far as athletics go, they participate in the Metro East Conference Athletic District. Some of the other high schools in that district include Hastings High School, Hill Murray, Matamidi, North High School, South St. Paul Secondary, St. Thomas Academy, Tartan High School, and Two Rivers High School. So if you're looking at a map, all of those are, for the most part, located on kind of like the eastern metro, kind of on the St. Paul side of the cities, with Matamidi kind of being the furthest high school north, and then as far south as Hastings High School. And yeah, I mean, as far as like athletics go, it is a very solid school for athletics. Maybe not, top 10 per se, but they are ranked within the top 20% for best high schools for athletes in Minnesota, and their athletics on niche get an A-. So again, between diversity, athletics, academics, and just the school district as a whole, Inver Grove Heights School District ISD 199 is checking a lot of boxes and is looking good.
Cool. Yeah, I think that says it all. It is kind of small, right? So it's like, that makes sense. That adds up to me where there's still so much kind of open space and like room for the area to grow that it would make sense that like it's not huge, and I bet it will continue to grow. It's good to know that it's already rated well and like already has, fairly robust options and opportunities and stuff, but is, still growing. So there's still tax dollars and such available, in the future that would likely improve the school, improve sort of the whatever is available to the students. But Nick, you feeling good?
I mean, I guess so. This is going to be new, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
I was wondering if I need to be plugged into a computer at all, if I can just describe these to people.
Well, yeah, you can just describe, because
Okay.
so
I'm just going to
as you
rock my tablet.
as you may have known, we were doing Nick's Picks, which was basically like houses within the area that, like, in different pricing categories. But as we sort of shift over to the podcast world, we realize that just showing pictures of homes and saying this is what you get doesn't translate, right? So we're talking Nick's Picks, and he's basically going to just describe. Also, there won't be this intro every time we do this, but just in case you've been following along, he'll basically just be able to describe what different price ranges get you in the different areas that we're talking. So in the event that you are trying to listen to these in the car, then this is maybe changing a little bit. If you're listening in reverse order, well, then it's about to change, and it's probably not going to be very listenable pretty soon, because he'll just be showing photos. So just FYI. But yeah, feel good?
Yeah.
Goodish. All right.
Goodish.
Here's Nick's with
Doing it
Nick's Goodish Picks.
Nick's
Okay.
Lifestyle Picks.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Nick Host here. I can be reached at nick@tothetwincities.com, Twin Cities Nick on Instagram, or hit up my cell phone, 612-708-8910. That said, we're going to jump right in. If anyone's been following along for the last few months now, which is kind of crazy, of doing this, I like to stick with different price ranges. I've tried to stick with that. There's a pretty decent variety of inventory in Inver Grove as far as price point. So we'll just hop right in. So describing this first one to you, I know that we kind of chatted a little bit earlier about the makeup of Inver Grove as a city as far as where the kind of population centers are. Inver Grove is kind of split down the middle by Highway 52, and then 55 more or less splits it in half, kind of at a diagonal type of way. So most of the homes are going to be in the top half of the city. There are some new construction homes in the bottom half, but a lot of these are going to be kind of towards the top. So the first one is a 1964 Rambler, which is more on the east side, closer to the river, which is definitely going to have those St. Paul Park, South St. Paul kind of vibes. A little bit older. The one that I'm looking at here, 1964, 4-bed, 2-bath, built in 1948. This one is currently listed at $337,500. This is one of the most affordable listings that I was able to find that's active in the area. This one's been on the market for 116 days though, so it could go for less, but it has just under a quarter of an acre, so a good amount of land here, and then property taxes are $2,400 roughly per year, which is quite low compared to the likes of Minneapolis and some of the other surrounding suburbs. So great value overall. Just looking at the house itself, it is of course a rambler, so one level. It looks like the siding has been redone. It looks great. You've got a 1-car attached garage. And then kind of what you would expect for this era of living space. Walk into a living room, you've got kind of a galley style kitchen towards the back of the home, and then a hallway that leads to the living quarters, 3 bedrooms up, and then your yard itself has a shed, so you're able to mostly utilize that garage for at least one vehicle. You have window air conditioning and forced air, so you could add a central air conditioning unit to this if you want. No HOA fee or anything like that, so pretty straightforward. What I would consider to be a very solid starter home. Again, 4-bed, 2-bath, 1,950 square feet, 1-car garage. I'd say that's pretty solid for under $350 these days. And it's not that far outside of the metro. You're kind of getting down there towards Rosemount when we're in Inver Grove Heights. So, all right, number 2 is the 300 to 550 range. This is going to be a little bit different. As far as the location of this one, it is going to be, again, very close to the last one, east side off of Concord Boulevard, close to the Mississippi River. So kind of in the older part of town, if you will. But that being said, this home was built in 1989. We've got a 4-bed, 3-bath, 2-story, 2-car attached garage, just shy of 2,400 square feet. So it's a well-appointed house, I would say. This one has been on the market for 2 weeks. So again, there's some possibilities to scoop up some inventory in these spots. 0.3 acres, so again, quite a large lot, which is pretty common as you move away from the urban and suburban core. Annual taxes on this one are going to be $3,684, which again is quite palatable given a house of this size. Central heating and air conditioning, which is to be expected once you're close to 1990. And I think that's pretty much it. No HOA on this one. It's got a beautiful concrete driveway. The roof looks redone. Beautiful kitchen, granite counters, stainless steel appliances. And it's got a relatively open layout. Let's see. Yeah, so not bad. Now it's $500,000. So, you know, what did Steve mention the median price? Steve, can you remember?
Yeah, just over 300. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a little spendy for down there, but I feel like you're still getting a good amount for your money.
Affordable in the grand scheme. Well, maybe not affordable, but a lot of house.
A lot of house, yeah. Exactly.
All right, so we're going to be moving to our 550 to 750 range. This one is going to be more up towards the Sunfish Lake, kind of northwestern side of town, which is going to have a little bit more of that newer inventory as you reach the likes of Eagan and Mendota. So this is a 2023 new build. I guess I'm not sure how I would describe the style, except for it's got the gabled roof line, as you would expect. It's quite large, actually. Let's see. 61 days on the market, so there's been some chilling inventory down over here. Quarter of an acre. This does have an association fee, which is $240. Quarterly, that is assessed, which covers, let's see, paved streets, sidewalks, storm sewer, and streetlights. So pretty much nothing.
Yeah, pretty much the stuff that comes with a lot of
yeah.
a lot of other houses. Yeah,
comes with the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Central heating and cooling, and then given the fact that it's a 2023 build, it's going to have all the modern amenities as far as insulation, new windows, roof. It's probably got radon mitigation, spray foam around the rim joists, you name it. So it's going to be a very efficient house despite being large. So just kind of describing this open layout. You've kind of got the faux brick pillars out front, little porch area, open kitchen, large island. You've got a slider off the back. There is no deck built, but there's an exposed joist for one to be put on. very common kind of in the late 80s that started being done with new builds. Looks like a vinyl plank flooring. Just everything you would expect for a home that is $670,000 if I had not mentioned it already. I'm curious. This one also has a beautiful finished upstairs with kind of a little, we'll call it a loft lounge area at the top of the stairs, which we're starting to see more in the new construction. A lot of the bedrooms up, laundry on the upstairs floor as well. And then I believe the basement was unfinished on this one, which is why it was, we'll say, only 3,000 square feet. But it's a huge house, so let's see. These ones are huge. This is going to be the 750 to $1 million. This home is a 5-bed, 5-bath, 4,800 square feet, built in 2023 once again, and this one is $831,000. The way that I would describe this is an HGTV home. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's on a magazine.
Yeah, gorgeous kitchen, center island, tile backsplash, wall ovens with the cooktop, just kind of the higher end finishes once you get to this price point. And to be honest, it is very similar to the last house, just a little bit larger, kind of starting to get the Woodbury / Apple Valley effect, where it's more or less the same house, just larger once you get above 600,000. Let's see. The last one was very unique. This is $1 million plus. This was one of, I want to say, 2 homes that I could find in Inver Grove. The others were in Egan and Rosemount, which are again kind of these places where new construction is expanding because there's available land. But this is a 4-bed, 3-bath, 4-car garage, built in 2012. I almost want to call it a farmhouse.
Yeah, those pillars.
It's gorgeous. It's got a wraparound porch with a view overlooking kind of a valley, and dark hardwood floors. You got the rich wood tones. It's not as much of a gray bomb as some of these new construction homes tend to be, which is fine, but this one's definitely got a little more character. It's almost giving me lodge vibes.
Feel that?
It's quite nice.
Yeah, that dark stain is adding to that too.
43 days on the market for this one, and this home actually does sit on 4.45 acres. So once you get up over that $1 million price point, theoretically you're going to be getting some land with it, which is nice. Tax bill on this one is a little bit of an oofta, just shy of $12,000 annually. Central heating and cooling, and no HOA fee on this one. One thing worth noting, this is the first one of the bunch that is on private well and septic. So as you get way far out, like this one is in the very southern part of Inver Grove, kind of right in between Egan and Rosemount, and where those 3 meet. That's pretty much all I've got. I mean, a lot of the houses in Inver Grove are going to be quite large, and the older ones are going to be more up towards, like I said, the St. Paul Park, which is on the east side of the river, South St. Paul, Sunfish Lake. You're going to get that 1960s and older inventory, a little bit smaller, tends to get scooped up a little bit faster.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a lot of I think what people are looking to in Inver Grove is the affordability and or getting a lot of house for your money, right? Because you can definitely spend a good amount of money in Inver Grove, but there's a good blend, right? And so we've helped some, first-time home buyers buy a starter house on the much more affordable end, and we've also helped some folks, at least one, get a newer build in Inver Grove for, definitely well over median home price in the metro. So maybe pit me, I guess. I know that it's a podcast, so it doesn't matter as much. Again, shout out to Gertens. It is a really, really cool nursery. Good way to spend like an entire Saturday, and then go, oh, didn't realize that it's now 6 p.m. But I think, and I talked about this in the virtual tour a little bit, but some of the pros and cons, you kind of have there's good schools and great schools. There's kind of a combination of that throughout, according to niche.com. You have a lot of great outdoor spaces, tons and tons of outdoor spaces, obviously it's along the river. There may be some areas that might be susceptible to flooding because they're right by the river, so be aware of that. We're definitely dealing with some flooding here in Minnesota right now. You have a lot of suburban amenities. You have Target, and I love that was all I could list, but I know that there's a lot more.
Might catch a Hy-Vee down there.
Yeah, there's. I just remember shooting at the Target. You're also really close to the Vikings practice, right?
Yeah, it's in Egan now.
Yeah, but it is like I don't know, 6 blocks away from the corner, the Settlers Ridge area.
Yeah, it's over by the Costco down there.
Yeah, it's a
I
great
would know
area
that.
over there. Yeah. And you also have Inver Grove Community College, and again, all that sort of outdoor space. It's a huge range of housing stock. Like I mentioned, it almost feels like it could be 2 separate suburbs because they vary so dramatically.
Yeah.
But I think that is overall a benefit. You have diversity in housing stock, so whoever's watching this, like literally almost anybody who's watching this, regardless of what type of home you're looking for, it could exist in Inver Grove Heights. You also have great access to both downtowns. Some of the cons, I would say, is sort of the industrial aspect of things. You have Pine Bend Resources, aka the Coke Refinery, very, very nearby. It's technically in Rosemont,
Yeah,
or
we
is
had
that
someone ask about it, remember? And its effect on the air quality. That was the Rosemount video.
Yeah, and because there's Flint Hills resource too, which I believe. Oh yeah, Pine Bend Refinery, Flint Hills resource. That whole area, it is stinky, and it's ugly, and it's extremely industrial. About as industrial as anything ever looks in the Twin Cities. And it's basically just to the south of the southern border. And I would say, usually I don't talk about things that are not in the boundaries, but because it's so close to it, I would say that undeniably is a con that a lot of people would take into consideration. You also have, this is nitpicking, very, very light airplane noise, kind of small private planes flying around.
Propeller planes.
Yeah,
regional
prop
airport.
planes. Yeah, it's not crazy, but if you're extremely sensitive to sound, that might bug you. You also, it's like I said, it's kind of the end of the road, right? There's really no, other than driving all the way to Hastings, which is disconnected pretty well. If you live in the southern aspect or the southern part, there's really no access to conveniences to the south, maybe to the southwest, way over in Rosemount, but even then, it's pretty far into Rosemount before you really are getting, helpful amenities. You're gonna have different eras of fairly cookie cutter neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. The older neighborhood, it's not even the most charming older neighborhoods, right? They're fairly cookie cutter for their time
Post-war.
Yeah, post-war, kind of the, story and a half, maybe some ramblers, pretty just, rows of houses, and then and then now you have kind of the new builds going in, which again, most new builds pretty cookie cutter, except sans for the likes of that last pick you were talking about.
I'll show it to you. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, so mostly that's going to be the case. And then again, lastly, that Pine Bend, that's for sure the biggest drawback of that area. But so much of Inver Grove Heights is so far away from it that I wouldn't be particularly concerned about it. So
I lived over there and I couldn't smell anything. It was fine.
okay,
So
yeah.
it was more like the old part, which would have been a little closer to that. So
Yeah.
it's just like if you're driving right by with your windows down, not ideal.
And it gets pretty industrial, like right around there. So there's not houses like right by it. There's like that Pilot Travel Center, which we don't have very many pilots in Minnesota, but that's one of them. Oh, my battery died. But yeah, right along there, right along 52, stinky. Definitely put your car on circulate. So that is it for today's podcast. Hope it's been helpful. As always, if you want to work with us, we would absolutely love to help you. Nobody will work harder for you than we will. I would implore you to find anybody who's worked harder for you than we have before even meeting you.
Some
Right?
people agree.
Yeah, that was actually my mom. But no, you know, we put in all this work ahead of time to be helpful to you, and I promise if you're working with us, we will continue to work our butts off for you. So go to our website, tothetwincities.com. Shoot us an email at info@tothetwincities.com. Whatever you want to do, we'd appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't yet. Give the video a like. Leave a comment if you would. I would appreciate that very much. If you're listening to this in podcast form, whoa, what's up? That feels very new to me, but appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Fade black.